But we must be forthright as a nation to protect our own cultures, our religion, and our beliefs. And we must not allow those countries from the West who believe in those things, let them believe in whatever they want to believe in, but they must not force us to believe in the things they believe in. They must also respect our culture, our religion, and the things we believe in.
Mr. Speaker, this is abominable. It's a decadent, it's an obnoxious behavior. I wish I had Babu Owino here to give me all those adjectives that he normally uses for these things. And I don't care what somebody else feels. The West has never been a moral authority. These are the people who came and enslaved us. And they came and colonized us. And they came and treated us like animals. And now they want to tell us to behave like animals.
Let them keep their bad habits in Europe, in America. Let us as Africans keep what we consider to be morally upright and suitable for our society. But look at these people who are telling us today, these are human rights. They are the ones who came here, and the first thing they did was to point out that Africans do not marry out of love, but do purchase wives because they are polygamous. What is better compared to the two? Polygamy and such queerness they are advancing to us.
Cannot lead this country to making us believe that lesbians, gays, queers, and those likes are supposed to be given any space in this country. Mr. Speaker, that is not African, it is an African. We should not just be made slaves because we need funding from the West. Mr. Speaker, this thing of us being told before we are given money from IMF, from World Bank, we must admit, we must accept these laws. This is strange to us. Mr. Speaker, we must tell them,
no same-sex marriage is allowed in this country. No same-sex relationship is allowed in this country. No same-sex penetration is allowed in this country, Mr. Speaker.
It is time. We don't sit on the fence. We don't bury our heads in the sand. We come forward and challenge this vice that wants to be brought to our youth.
In my culture, it's criminal. You don't expect somebody to sleep with another man. There are beautiful girls out there and women. How would you go and sleep and persuade a fellow man? And then you say it is illegal? My good God, please save me from this.
When we go to the Bible, Mr. Speaker, God created man, and he saw it good to create a woman. So, Mr. Speaker, this is not something we need to support, and shame on our Supreme Court.
I want to agree with the President Museveni when he said that he is not going to take any money, and they can take him wherever they want to take him. But he is not going to agree to receive donations for accepting to legalize gay and homosexuality.
Homosexuality was already a problem in the West.
We have failed as a society, Honorable Speaker. And on this matter, we need to come out and educate our children. We need to come out and be there for our children. We need to come out and just tell these people who are encouraging our children into bad manners to get out.
Mr. Speaker, we as Africans, we have our African and cultural values, which the Western and the Americans must respect. One of the clauses in the so-called trade is that we should embrace comprehensive sexual education for us to get aid. This is the second colonization by the West.
Guys, that is not all, because I'll be showing you even more footage of what happened in the parliament somewhere in Africa. Well, Africans are now shocking the West and America when it comes to their so-called democracy. This so-called democracy that we've been seeing from Americans, France, British, trying to come and impose it on Africans. Well, it is not something which has something to do with Africans. This is something which had to do only with their own advantage. In this video, I want to speak less and show you more footage. More footage of what is happening now in Africa when it comes to these things of gay, lesbian, getting married. I want you to pay attention to what happened recently in the Parliament of Kenya. Of course, we have the Parliament of Nigeria, Malawi, so on and so on. Couple of countries already who are discussing these matters in their parliament. And all of them, they came out with one conclusion: to remind Africans that this is not our culture. We were not born to live this way. So, without delay, I want first to listen to what happened in the Parliament of Kenya. I'll be back after then with more analysis.
If there's anything I support President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni on, is on the issue of LGBT. Honorable Speaker, I will not go to the extreme in how you deal with them, but we must be forthright as a nation to protect our own cultures, our religion, and our beliefs, and we must not allow those countries from the West who believe in those things. Let them believe in whatever they want to believe in, but they must not force us to believe in the things they believe in. They must also respect our culture, our religion, and the things we believe in, but not shove things down our throats, that things we don't believe in. And we want to raise up our children in an upright country, in an upright society, Honorable Speaker, where our children will enjoy to grow the way we grew up, with morals, with good ethics, Honorable Speaker, and in a country that we can all be proud to raise our kids in, Honorable Speaker.
I don't know where the world is going to. Mr. Speaker, this is abominable. It's a decadent, it's an obnoxious behavior. I wish I had Babu Owino here to give me all those adjectives that he normally uses for these things. Mr. Speaker, those people are dead as human beings who support such things. In my faith, as a Muslim, the death penalty is what they deserve, people who engage in such things. And I'm proud of that. And I don't care what somebody else feels. The West has never been a moral authority. These are the people who came and enslaved us. And they came and colonized us. And they came and treated us like animals. And now they want to tell us to behave like animals. If we allow them to take over our lives, we have allowed them for far too long for them to exploit us and to dehumanize us as human beings. On this, we will say no. If they're going to come up with travel, restrictions, keep your country, keep your cultures, keep your nonsense to yourselves. And I'm talking to the West in this case here.
Whether it's sodomy, whether it's lesbianism, whether it's queerness, whether it is anything that is outward practiced by these characters who say they have human rights. They may have their rights in private. And I'm sorry, I shiver and shudder when I imagine what they do in private, because it is totally repugnant, especially to us Africans. It's also important to condemn those who come with these ideas. And this is why today we celebrate the President of Uganda, Yoweri Museveni. We celebrate the late Robert Mugabe of Uganda. And sometimes it actually appears Idi Amin himself was a saint, because these are the things he was condemning those days, in spite of being incited by these same Europeans and Americans to kill a few Ugandans. Let them keep their bad habits in Europe, in America. Let us as Africans keep what we consider to be morally upright and suitable for our society. For example, look at these people who are telling us today these are human rights. They are the ones who came here, and the first thing they did was to point out that Africans do not marry out of love, but do purchase wives because they are polygamous. What is better compared to the two? Polygamy and such queerness they are advancing to us.
Cannot lead this country to making us believe that lesbians, gays, queers, and those likes are supposed to be given end space in this country. Mr. Speaker, that is not African, it is an African. And there is no religion which ascribes to any of those. Mr. Speaker, it's high time this parliament expressed itself in all ways, in all media houses. Mr. Speaker, what are they telling our young children? What are they telling the generations? Mr. Speaker, I'm now been made to believe that the former president of USA, Donald Trump, did not support this. Neither is Museveni. We should not just be made slaves because we need funding from the West. Mr. Speaker, this thing of us being told before we are given money from IMF, from World Bank, we must admit, we must accept these laws. This is strange to us. Mr. Speaker, we must tell them.
No same-sex marriage is allowed in this country. No same-sex relationship is allowed in this country. No same-sex penetration is allowed in this country, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, if I asked you, what do you call this thing in your mother tongue? Do we have it even described in African languages, how it's called? Because it doesn't exist, and it never existed. You remember in the history, the Mwanga of Uganda, those small boys used to be called pages. They used to be used as bets for this kind of thing, and those who used to be there, they used to be called eunuchs. And those are the things that these people want to teach us, Mr. Speaker. In Europe, Mr. Speaker, we are having the older generation. It's more than the younger generation, and they're having a very huge gap between the older and the young people. So what we must do, Mr. Speaker, we must guard ourselves, we must protect our culture, we must protect our children, and Mr. Speaker, we must say no to anything that is going to destroy our values.
It is time. We don't sit on the fence. We don't bury our heads in the sand. We come forward and challenge this vice that wants to be brought to our youth.
In my culture, it's criminal. You don't expect somebody to sleep with another man. There are beautiful girls out there and women. How would you go and sleep and persuade a fellow man? And then you say it is illegal? My good God, please save me from this. I want to take this opportunity and ask the lawyers in this country to condemn that.
When we go to the Bible, Mr. Speaker, God created man, and he saw it good to create a woman. So, Mr. Speaker, this is not something we need to support, and shame on our Supreme Court for making such a decision, Mr. Speaker. It is very bad for our generation, our young people, our school children to watch when we are discussing such a thing which has been legalized by our Supreme Court, Mr. Speaker. And I want to say, when you go in a supermarket, there is exit and there is entrance and exit. And when you try to enter through the exit, it is written, it is prohibited, Mr. Speaker. So I don't see how we can try to use our exit as an entrance, Mr. Speaker. It's against the law, and it's very bad, Mr. Speaker. And those who are trying to use our weak institution to impose everything in this country, Mr. Speaker, we are going against them, and we are not supporting, Mr. Speaker. We are not going to be ruined our culture by the West. We are not going to support them. If they cannot give the donation to Kenyans with this condition, let them not give it to us, Mr. Speaker. We can stay without it, Mr. Speaker, because how can a country like Kenya, a Christian country, indulge in such an act, Mr. Speaker? And I want to urge all the preachers, bishops, church, to stand firm on this issue, Mr. Speaker. We need to condemn it, right, left, center, Mr. Speaker, because we need to take care of our coming generation. We have to take care of our children. We are parents. I'm trying to imagine sitting in a sitting room, watching the TV, such a act. Mr. Speaker, this is against the law. I cannot allow it, Mr. Speaker. So I urge this Parliament to stand firm and to make sure this thing is not legalized in our country and is stopped completely.
The ruling by the Supreme Court to allow the registration of this organization is the beginning of the killing of our society. Because I cannot imagine a society where a woman is marrying a woman and a man is marrying a man, and for that matter, you do not expect any product out of it. I have read from the media that President Museveni has actually put some homosexuals in jail for a known period of time until when they are able to produce children. And I can tell you that that is going to be an eternity. And therefore, when you look at it, when a man starts marrying a man, then it means that we are going to have a society where there is no procreation. And in that regard, that it means that our society, Kenya, is going to disappear after a certain time. And I think this is a making of the Western and probably the Eastern as well. Because most of these people who are giving us money for donations to do development are putting conditions because they are interested in our land. They see that the population of Africa is still not that high, and they want to, decimate the population of Africa so that they can take it over from us. And therefore, I want to agree with the President Museveni when he said that he is not going to take any money, and they can take him wherever they want to take him. But he is not going to agree to receive donations for accepting to legalize gay and homosexuality. I just want to advise our society, the young people, because this is mostly being carried on by young people, that you are becoming a disappointment to your parents. And I think it is a high time that we advise the young people that this is an immoral behavior, it is a moral decay, and therefore we want them to refrain from that. And maybe it's because of misinformation. I therefore want to ask church to take leadership in this matter, and let's warn young people from the highest level of the podiums or in the churches and everywhere in the mosques, so that we discourage our young people from really being dragged into this.
So homosexuality was already a problem in the West. The only good thing about it is that at that time, the writers considered homosexuality as a disease, as a problem. And when you look at the way this disease has been spreading in the West, I am tempted to borrow the words of Sir Michael Blundell when he said, "So rough a wind." There is a wind, Mr. Speaker, that is blowing, and it is so rough a wind. There is a temptation by one culture to come and dominate other cultures. And as I said, that this so rough a wind that is blowing, if you know what is going on in our schools, if you know what is going on in secrecy in this country, the whole thing about homosexuality is actually on the rise. And we have to be alert as institutions of Kenya. And I want to request the Supreme Court of Kenya to always remember that they are the Supreme Court of the Republic of Kenya. And they must be like us. They must think like us. In the first place, this country, between the Christians and the Muslims, were 93%. If you might differ a bit on the mathematics, the Christians being 63% and 30% being the Muslims. And each of those dominant religions believe that sex be conducted in accordance with the order of nature. Regardless of whether what my learned friend, what my honorable friend Karoli says is trying to understand how, be sympathetic about how people behave. The truth is that our religions, and I am a Roman Catholic, do not believe that this is the way to go. But more important is that we are Africans. And gentlemen and ladies, honorable members, let us not behave like the word values has lost value. There must be value in values. So what do we stand for, we here who are black Africans? It has never been in our nature to behave the way the Supreme Court wants to persuade us to behave. We must stand, if nothing else, tall and strong because of our culture. I don't know myself how it actually works, how this thing called homosexuality works. I know that under the penal code, men are not supposed to have sex with men. I'm surprised, Mr. Speaker, because you are also a lawyer, it does not even think about women having sex with each other. That is not even contemplated. I think it was a very distant idea. So, if we want to survive as Africans and not go through the slippery road that the West has gone through, we have to preserve our culture. The numbers in the West are reducing because they are propagating something, they are promoting something called queer. How do you even promote something called queer? Mr. Speaker, the preservation of our dignity, the preservation of our faiths, the preservation of our religions, and the future of our children demands that we say no to this trend that is being developed. I support.
Honorable Speaker, when was the last time you told your son on how to behave where there is a girl? Honorable Speaker, when was the last time I told my daughter how to behave where there is a boy? We are busy looking for money. We are busy doing our own businesses. We are busy studying and leaving our children to technology, buying them the most expensive phones, and they go to sites that attract them. They go to sites, Honorable Speaker, where they see men marrying men and women marrying women, women kissing women, and men kissing men. And there are people who are enticing these young people, Honorable Speaker, to engage in this kind of activities. Where is the role of the family in socializing our own children? Honorable Speaker, before we castigate the courts, what are we doing as a parliament? Honorable Speaker, in my language, they say, and I quote, "I blame Oguang, ti blame Nyakagweno." For that I mean, when the chicken leaves its, they call the chicklings or whatever, the chicks, and they are taken away, it is asked, why did you leave your chicks to be taken? Honorable Speaker, the divorce rate in this country is too much. Where do we leave our children? Who teaches our children? Honorable Speaker, we have people who are ready to sponsor these young men into these activities. Homosexuality is so rampant in our secondary schools, Honorable Speaker. Do we have people who go to teach our children against this thing in secondary schools? Do we have people who openly talk about gay and lesbian relationships in our secondary schools where we have our teenagers and we are here castigating the courts? We have failed as a society, Honorable Speaker. And on this matter, we need to come out and educate our children. We need to come out and be there for our children. We need to come out and just tell these people who are encouraging our children into bad manners to get out of Kenya and go back to their countries.
Mr. Speaker, we as Africans, we have our African and cultural values, which the Western and the Americans must respect. This country is guided by the rule of law and the Constitution. The Supreme Court contradicted itself by saying that homosexual is not allowed in our country as per the Constitution. then how come that the same judges are now saying the gays, the homosexual, lesbian, they have a right? What a contradiction. The Supreme Court judges must apologize to Kenyans. Mr. Speaker, I'm afraid this House is slowly losing its authority to the judiciary through the back door. So this House must stamp its authority. I'm a Catholic by faith. I know the teachings that homosexual is not allowed. Both the Bible and the Quran pronounce itself that marriage is for a man and a woman. Mr. Speaker, what feelings would I have for another man? This is the cleverest way by the West and the Americans to reduce the population in Africa, and Kenya is a target. Mr. Speaker, there is a conference going on in Belgium, and we have Kenyan delegation. I had the privilege in January, I was in Arizona, through the invitation of the Family Watch International. One of the clauses in the so-called trade is that we should embrace comprehensive sexual education for us to get aid. This is the second colonization by the West. If we have to embrace homosexual for us to get aid, then we don't need it in Kenya. And I'm calling upon our president, who is a Christian and a family man, to address the nation on the issues of LGBTQs. And these people, they're here. They have penetrated everywhere, all the institutions of this country. And there's a lot of money which is flowing. They have the agents in this country. Mr. Speaker, we should be allowed to practice what is good for us. We should not be dictated by the West, and particularly the Americans. Let them stay with their bad behaviors where they are and leave us. But they should not colonize us or should not give us aid with the conditions. Look at a scenario. If my mom was married to another woman, or my dad was married to another man, could I be here? So, what are they telling us? Even the animals, they're not attracted to a female or a female. So why are they trying our living God? Because God created a man and a woman. So we should condemn these acts, and we should come together. We should not blame anybody, but we should come together and say, no, enough is enough. If it's aid from the West or the US, let them stay with their aid. We don't need it, but let them leave us with African values and Christian values.
I think this is the temptation of our time. Mr. Speaker, it is a period for Christians and even Muslims to reflect on ecological sins and fast from habits that hurt nature. This is one of the habits that hurt nature, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, at times, when you hear things being pronounced here and there, I think at times in Africa we should, or specifically Kenya, we should be very choosy and decide to choose our problems. We have so many problems that are affecting us. We have so many problems that we should be spending time in this house discussing, rather than the so-called LGBTQ or whatever. Mr. Speaker, we don't need to add problems on top of problems. This thing is becoming a problem. Mr. Speaker, if you can imagine of a generation whereby men will be working alongside men. And Mr. Speaker, one thing that keeps me asking myself is, why do these people who decide to unite as men and women change their ways? Or you find a man who has decided to be married to another man, start pretending to be a woman. They put on earrings, at times they put on, I don't know, diapers to look like women. They inject some hormones. Why don't you just stand with your suit and work with another man with a suit, so that we know you are proud of whatever you're doing? Mr. Speaker, I think it is about time we call out on these people that they should be sure of what they want and keep of. Freedom of expression or freedom of whatever somebody wants to do should not also affect freedom of somebody else who does not want to do it, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, it is sad to imagine, Africa, all affair to me is hot hair, because already we know that our constitution outlaws sexual acts between consenting adults. But at the same time, you are allowing something which is outlawed you are allowing them to form association. So, Mr. Speaker, I can call it hot air, and it shouldn't be either here nor there.
Kenya is a very, very religious country, and since that ruling was made, debate has been going on around this country about our beliefs. This is Africa, and in Africa we have values, norms, and traditions that we subscribe to. And so this ruling has actually gone against the values, norms, and traditions that we believe in Africa. Mr. Speaker, sir, this ruling is actually giving very bad precedents to this country, because so many other groups are going to come up, and it's going to be chaotic in this country. For example, we have these very many groups which believe in fantasies and fetishes. Like, there are those who subscribe in bestiality. They are also going to say they want their right to associate. We have the necrophilias. They are also going to say they want rights to associate. We have pedophiles. They also want rights to associate. So if such rulings are made in this country, then this president is going to make very complicated decisions in future for this country. Mr. Speaker, we should be careful as a country of what we adopt from the Western countries. In Western countries, they have their own beliefs, they have their own norms, and they have their own traditions if they have. And so by just copying, because we are seeing things on the internet without considering what the majority of people feel, is actually wrong. And of late, the Supreme Court has been making very controversial rulings that do not actually go hand in hand with the beliefs of the many Kenyans. And I wonder why that is happening in this country, where the Supreme Court is always ruling against the thoughts and ideas of the majority of Kenyans.
Now that I give you a chance to watch the whole debate which took place in this parliament, I believe now you are with me in the same page, and I believe now we can try to analyze together as African children. There is a lot which is being said, isn't it? A lot through this debate from different participants took place in this debate. They said a lot. But I just want us to understand one thing. Everything that they have just said, does it really make sense, yes or no? Yes, everything that they've been saying, does it really make sense, yes or no? Because sometimes, before we judge what these people they are saying against the gay and lesbian marriage, we should also try to look the nature, where we are coming from, what we have done, or what have been done before. When America sees Africa as a place of taking advantage, looting, not cooperating, not doing the operation of win-win, well, on the other side, China is busy seeing Africa as a place full of opportunity. Yes, and by how? By starting first respecting Africans and try to follow the state of what Africans want to be in their countries. America, on the other side, that's not the case. They coming in Africa and telling Africans on how to do things, how to behave. They coming in Africa to impose on Africans what to do and what not to do. That is something that Africans, they have understand. All of Africa continent, they are now not just looking at what Americans they're saying to them and not doing nothing about it, but instead all Africans that now upstand, they are fighting back. Africa is at war. Africa is now fighting to defend its own soil, to defend its own culture, to defend its own belongings. And this war, we don't care for how long it will last, but as long we know that Africa, it will come out as the winner. Because this is not African culture. Our forefathers, they never experienced this. They never even heard about it. So they'll be turning in their grave if they have to find out that no, Africans, our offspring, they are now doing what us we could not do. Therefore, Africans now, they are trying to defend the honor of our forefathers. Yes, you all saw how Americans, they went to Zambia, to Ghana, they went to South Africa trying to promote this so-called gay and lesbian marriage. And that was not all. Last year, you also heard the president of Uganda, President Yoweri Museveni, have to sign some bills which came from the parliament forbidding the gay and lesbian marriage, saying that whoever will try to do this, this is what they'll have to go through. Well, that was not something that went in vain. Instead, it had created a lot of enemy who had to face Uganda Republic. And now, they say, before it become even more late for us, what about we start putting more pressure on other of African countries so that they can start applying these things already. They can equalize the marriage of these people. Well, personally, I don't have anything to do with them, but I'm here just to speak or to talk the fact. That is not us as a black child. Is it this something new that the West, especially America, trying to impose on Africans? Is this part of our culture? When we grow up, our fathers, our grandfathers, when they grow up, was this part of their culture so that us we can come and inherit it today? Or is it something new that we are just showing it, we are just showing up with it and start applying it just like that? So we need to pay attention to all this because it is very, very, very important. Why should we be told that before we get a fund, before we get a aid, before we get a help, if I have to put it in that way, we need first to approve this so-called gay and lesbian marriage in Africa, in our countries? Why should we be told to do such a thing? This is what I keep on telling you. The mission of these people is to come in Africa to impose their leadership on Africans. Because when you're imposing your leadership on Africans, it is when you are coming to tell people to do things according to your ways. Why should we be told on how we should build or grow our democracy? By approving something which has nothing to do with the nature of an African child. these people, they can't donate donations to the African countries that are in need, African countries that are suffering, African countries that are in the war. They can't donate the help. Yet, they are only able to donate their so-called democracy by imposing it to us, telling us on how to do things in our lands. If you look around Africa each and every day, there is about 50 children who are dying because of the famine. No food to eat. Because of hunger, these children are dying. Look around your neighborhood, you'll find even women who are dying for giving birth in the bad conditions. What about malaria, which is killing about 15% of the population of Africa each and every day? They are not coming in to help us. They are not donating anything. The only thing they feel like donating is to come and impose to us to start doing things that they have approved on their side. Now they want all of us to be like them. The kind of democracy these people, they've been bringing in Africa. They like to act like they know everything, like they are good, they are perfect, but yet what they're doing does not come together to what people are expecting from people who believe in democracy. When Africa needs to be developed, because we can't pretend like Africa does not need a lot of things from these people. No, Africa actually needs a lot in terms of development. These people, they came in Africa, they steal from Africa. They took African minerals. They took everything that belongs to Africans. They went over in their countries. They rebuilt their countries. They developed their countries. They make their economy grow. Now, when it's time for Africans to be developed, this is what they feel like they can contribute to African development. They have to come and tell us to start equalizing, another man getting married to another man, another woman getting married to another woman. Well, it is something else. I'm not saying that in Africa these people don't exist. Of course, it's their choice after all. Personally, I'm not even there. If a person decides to become something that is not the nature, I mean, I'm just disappointed, but I'm not there. I'm no one to judge anyone. But equalizing it, making it legally, that is something we're not going to allow. And that's what you heard all these people in the parliament saying the same thing. This is a kind of things in other African countries, it is even a taboo for you to debate about it. Yes, I know a couple of countries in Africa, especially French-speaking countries. Those countries, even if you are a deputy, you are not allowed even to come with this kind of motion in the parliament so that we can debate about it. Because the moment you will decide to go and try to debate about this, trust me, everyone will suspect you. Everyone will feel like, no, you are at the service of the West. And no one don't want to be accused to be puppet of the West. So these are the kind of like a taboo debate. Take a country like Nigeria. Who can come? Who can even try to come up with that kind of motions in the parliament? And the day this will take place in a place like Nigeria, guys, trust me, I'm afraid to tell you that the worst will happen. This Boko Haram, you guys, you see that you heard that Boko Haram does this. They'll change their stories. They'll do crazy things because Nigerians is a mixer of Christians and Muslim. And when you look to the Christians, these things does not apply. When you look to the Muslim, we can't even mention. Because according to the Muslim law, this kind of people, for them, they believe that they should be... You heard what I mean to say. So, yet, these are the campaign that the West, they've been trying to do in Africa. See the kind of people we're having in this world. People who are there not to help Africa develop, but people who want to do things in the different ways. You know, who just want to come and tell you that, no, look, you have to do this because you see us, we're doing it, blah, 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 blah. Actually, their mission is to wipe off Africa continent, Africa children to the eyes of the earth. Yes, they want Africa continent to be wiped off from the world. Do you know why? Because these are the same people who keep on saying that Africans were so many. Do you still remember what former president of France, Nicolas Sarkozy, had to say about Africa? The men who had the courage to come and say that, no, Africans, there are so many. There are so many to the point that if we let them continue giving birth like this, and then it will happen that by the 2035, Africans will be having about 15 billions of people again, which will be added to the millions that we're having in Africa. Now, what is your problem? Because we are all able to pregnate. Our women are able to give birth. So if you guys don't want to give birth to your countries, why do you have a problem? Because we believe Africa, we are a very big continent. It's just a matter of the time. If we develop these beautiful countries, we can build even on the mountain. People will live there at peace, and no one will envy to go to Europe and try to kill their life in the Red Sea or whatsoever. So you will see that these people, they are in their mission to eliminate Africans. Why? Because the moment African countries start legalizing these things of gay and marriage in courts, and people go and sign papers, we all know that a man can't give birth when he's united or having intimacy with another man. Same goes for a woman. It needs a man with a woman in order for them to have a child. So now if these people start dominating, if these people start living in Africa, obviously there won't be children there won't be someone who will be giving birth to children. And there will be few children maybe who will be found in the orphanage, which I doubt actually, because by then in the orphanage it will be quiet, no children to go and adopt there. So they want to stop Africans from not producing each other. That is the purpose about all this. That is the truth about this. They want to make Africans to not have a chance to develop, to have their grandchildren, to have their children and live their best life. They don't. Robert Mugabe saw this coming. The old man, shame, I miss him. I wish he was still alive by now. I can't imagine what Robert Mugabe would have told these people by this time. Robert Mugabe saw this long time ago, before even these people start having the courage to come in Africa. He keep on criticizing them. He was telling them the truth. Even the United Nations as a General Assembly, when they are calling that, no, let's negotiate, and we're like, no, who am I going to negotiate with? These are people who believe in gay, lesbian marriage. These people are gays, so who am I going to negotiate with them? Mugabe saw this coming. Today, I believe each and every Pan-Africans who have heard about Robert Mugabe saying this, they will agree with me that yes, the man was right back then. And now we are seeing it. So we need to apply Mugabe's strategies in order for us to resist against these people. Because Robert Mugabe saw this coming and he fought it with his energy. That even ended up putting him, or putting Zimbabwe, at sanctions, which until today they never want to remove it. Imagine the Republic of Zimbabwe, if they decide to approve these things of gay, lesbian today in Zimbabwe, these people will remove these sanctions. They will immediately remove these sanctions. They will remove it without even having a second thought. Why? Because that's something that they want to see from Africans. That's something that they feel like they can, you know, they can invest in. They put money on the table. They do serious lobbying over there in Americas. They send their people over in Africas, and they send their journalists. They're writing articles, trying to promote this kind of things. But things that Africans, we want to be promoted for, they don't want to help us to do that. We want to develop Africa continent. They don't want to help us. We want Africa to be united, having one currency. They don't want us to have our own currency. We want Africa to have our one army, one and only army. They don't want us to have that. All because it does not care, it does not concern them. All because they know the moment when Africans become united, it will destroy them. It will destroy them, and they know very well that, yeah, this is what's going to destroy us. So, in order for us not to be destroyed by Africans, we need to go and give them things that we've been doing over here. They must also do it. When you watch to this video, the video that I play with you, I play for you here. This one deputy gave a very simple, easy example. He said, we only have 2 doors. One, which allow people to go in, and they call it entrance. There is only one entrance. And the other door, it is the exit door. So there's no sense for you to be entering to the entrance and coming out from the entrance. Who came up with this idea? Who came up with this strategy? Isn't it the West? Yes. They're the one who came, like, all in the shopping centers, at the mall, everywhere. You find, even at the garage, you'll find the door is there. One for the people who are going in, another one's for people who are coming out. But since when now they are not, they're jumping from that, they want to go and change the nature now. They want to apply it in the nature, to making people to be going in the one way and coming out from the same way. These people that are playing with us. These people that are playing with us, because what even hurt them most is for the fact that they don't even want to, to accept that they are playing Africans. They act like they're good at what they're doing, and Africans were stupid before their eyes. They thought it was that same Africa continent back in days, where they'll go and do whatever they want to do and say to Africans, hey, you do this, and you have to listen. Hey, you go and do that, and you have to do it. Nope. Things have changed around. This time Africans, they are no longer listening to them. You could even see in the eyes of those men and women who were busy debating about this topic. They were talking with a free mind. Free mind, and they are not scared. They say, we don't care. This is not our culture. We're not going to allow that. That is the new Africa that we are having. Yoweri Museveni, before he signed these bills, you know what he did? Because they were always criticizing him. Oh, you're against the LGT, whatever you call it. I don't want even to know the whole thing. But you know what I mean. We're talking about men and women. Men and men getting married, women and women getting married. Because they have to, the one thing I know about these people, they usually try to make things, they'll try even to give it a form. Instead of saying men and men having sex, or women and women sleeping together, they went on and created something like a LGTB, whatever they call it. I don't even care to pronounce the whole things, because I'm not interested in it. I know these are the things that they came up with it with their own meanings. So they took all those letters, they put them together, and then they come up like, okay, this is what it all mean. They were busy criticizing Yoweri Museveni, saying that no, is against the human rights, is violating human rights, you should allow people to do whatever they want to do, blah, 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 blah. Yoweri Museveni, as we're talking right now, going to Uganda, they'll show you. There is a couple of gay and a couple of lesbian that Yoweri Museveni send them to jail. He said to them, go in there, since you love to each other, you are a couple, I'm giving you that green light, but not among my nations, not in the population where my people are seated. I'm putting you in your cell. You'll be having your food there. You'll be having your drinks. You'll be having your bed. Go now and practice what couples are supposed to be practicing. At the end of the day, if I even hear the news that one of you is pregnant or one of you have given birth, I will release you. Simple as that. If one of you give birth, if you guys manage to pregnant each other, you are free. And by then, we'll think on how we'll legalize these things. As we're talking right now, it's about 3 to 4 years. Those people that are still in jail, we never even had a news, a sad news of saying that no, there was someone who had miscarriage over there. Yeah, guys, it might sound a bit funny, but it is a very big regret. These are the kind of democracy that these people want to come and influence on Africans. And they find a different generation of Africans. And we are standing firm all over Africa continent. We speak the same language. We say no to something that which is not our nature, to something that we never contribute or never been there before. So this is the easiest way that the West want to reduce Africans. You know, they want to reduce Africans because they know already that Africans, we are so many, that they know that if these people, they keep coming so much like this, they keep giving birth like this, well, they become even more popular. But if they want to reduce Africans, why they can't do the same with China, who are #1 population in the world? Why they can't do the same with Indians? Because these are the countries we know that, no, these ones, like it or not, they're so popular. There is something, guys. There is something that these people, they are up to do. And they are busy now losing it all because no one is listening to their nonsense. No one is paying attention to what they have to say. So, this is the message that the Parliament of Kenya have sent to Africans. The Parliament of Kenya want each and every African parliament to have this kind of debate and come out with a good conclusion as the one they decided to do. We shall wait and see what will happen when your parliament also comes with their conclusion. Are they going to support these Western impositions of what they want Africans to do? Changing African cultures? Where a man now is dressing like a woman now trying to be like a man. Some of them, they're even going, God. God forgive us. You, a man with a beard, with everything. Just because you feel like. Now you go, not only to put the makeup, but you even go far to do the transit. You have to go, they must cut everything. They must fabricate something. Like really? Like really? And to see how these people, they've been promoting this nonsense. Do you guys still remember about what happened in the Senate in America? Where a couple of gay went and have sex in front of senates. Yes. It's just that I can't play you the video, but you can see even the image. This couple, they went in front of all those magalas. They were like, nah, you see, you guys, you always criticizing. You see people that are saying that we are not, we are also human beings. We feel nice when we do it. Let's show you, because when we do it, we all can come, we can feel it, blah, 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 blah. And they do it right there in front of everyone. Those are the kind of the culture Americans with Europe, they want to bring in Africa. Where you be seeing your own brother there walking with another man coming in your family saying that, yeah, here's my husband. God have mercy on us, I'm telling you. God have mercy. So this is something that as long we never learn it in school in the history, saying that no, they were this African country, these are the kind of things they were doing. I don't think this will go anywhere. Yes, because Africans, one thing I know for sure, we're never gonna betray our background. We're never gonna disappoint our ancestors. We're never gonna disappoint our grandfathers. We're never gonna do such a thing. So, well, again here, if you know that you are one of them, please don't hold accountable for don't hold us accountable for that. We are here just to speak the facts. We are here to speak the truth. It might hurt you, but it's the truth. And remember, here we all speak the truth, regardless of who is concerned. These things is not part of our culture as Africans. Don't get lost as our fellow brother over in America. Yes, where about 87% had to go and vote about the encouragement of this. Not me saying it. There's many reports. People who vote Joe Biden, there are people who believe in this gay and lesbian marriage. And black people, they vote for Joe Biden, about 87% of them. So we are not them. Yes, they are our black brothers, our African brothers. This is their root. So if it happened that they were misled by the Western, maybe they were misled to do things that's supposed not to be right for them, we're not going to encourage them. We observe them, but at the same time, we just looking like, okay, brother, sister, we don't need that. So you can keep it that one in America, but in Africa, this is the roots where you're coming from. So you have to comply, and we're here to defend that. As much they're trying to defend their so-called democracy, that's how us also we're going to defend our culture as African children. Well, that will be all for today. Thank you so much for watching this video until now. Yes, I know I've been very harsh in my words. Maybe some of you do not like what I said. I apologize again if you find maybe I was talking like I'm talking to you, or maybe to your cousin, brother, or cousin, sisters. I apologize. We don't have anything personal with it, but we just have to remind one another as Africans that this is not part of our culture. And it's not me who thinks so, but many Africans out there. You saw the videos where they give also their point of view, just to say that no, these people, they can exist today. We are not gonna kill anyone, like trying to take someone and eliminate them just because they choose this. They can be there, but to make it legal, that's something that we're not gonna accept, because it did not even come, the idea making it legal, it did not even come from one of African country. It did not come from African leaders, Julius Malema or anyone, but it coming from the West power. We're talking about America, British, France, Germany, Belgium, Italy. These people, they're not a good role model for Africans. There's nothing good that can come from their side which will make Africans feel like, yeah, we deserve to have this kind of people and we can follow this. No. As long as it comes from them, we're not going to support it. Besides that, because here I'm not going the fact of being a Christian or Muslim or whoever. Here I'm just speaking about the nature, about the culture of Africans. Next time, if you feel like we can go do more deeper as a Christians or Muslim, then we'll discuss about it. And they will be able to open our Quran or maybe the Bible and read what it says. Because through that video I played for you, we even saw some of the deputies who had to go and open the Quran. Some they even opened the Bible. So it's something like it's against the nature. But just because we're living in the last day, just because the devil does exist, well, they're using the United States of America for them to normalize things which are supposed to be abnormal to the eyes of the world. And we're not going to be here, sitting here, listening to them or doing what they're asking us to do because they feel like telling us what they want us to do. So once again, I apologize if you feel like I was harsh in my words. But please feel free to also drop your comment in the comment section. Tell us also your point of view. How do you feel about all this? Your opinions count also the most. So we'll appreciate it if you can like check down write down your comment so that we can also see how you think about it. Do you think it's a good idea or not? But otherwise, don't leave this video without giving us your thumbs up, because we really do appreciate. For now, continue to be yourself, be good, be kind, have respect for everyone in order for you to be respected. May God bless you all. I'll see you again very soon. Ciao, ciao.